Malole soifua mo, malalangi e mama. I hope that we are all well met under clear skies. My name is Brian Leilua, and I'm from RTLB Cluster 12. And as always, here's my partner in crime, Ben.
Thanks, Brian. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back and to another vodcast of On the Air with B&B. We're joined by the lovely Sonia Johnston, who is the principal of Roscommon Primary School out in South Auckland here. Very soon you're going to be hearing from Sonia, who is going to talk about what it's like being a principal. And this is coming from 20 plus years of experience of working in South Auckland and in working in Roscommon. She has currently opened a Samoan bilingual unit and is looking to build on from that. She's also going to talk about how to, some tips on, if you're interested in becoming a principal, what are some ways, how can you begin that journey on into something that you might be interested in future. She's also looking to talk about RTLB and how RTLB can engage in their school and build those relationships, that whakawhanaungatanga. So we do welcome Sonia Johnston, and very soon we're going to hear from her. Brian?
Let's go. Welcome, everyone. We just want to welcome Sonia Johnston from Roscommon School. So full disclosure, I'm the RTLB liaison at Roscommon School. So we just happened to cross paths, and we welcome you here, Sonia. Welcome to our little vodcast here. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. Good to be here.
Oh, lovely.
Awesome.
So we'll just start by, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Okay, well, talofa lava. My name's Sonia Johnston. Like you said, principal at Roscommon School. My dad is a Kiwi from the South Island, and my mum is Samoan from the beautiful village of Moata in Apia, Western Samoa. What else do you need to know about me? I'm a mum. I'm married to Malcolm, who's my high school sweetheart. We've been together about 4 years now.
Congratulations. Lovely.
Three growing up children, and they're all married, and they've all had their first baby in the last 2 years. So I'm a very busy grandmother of three grandchildren. So yeah.
Did you have 3 girls?
I had 3 daughters, yes.
Yeah,
and
lovely.
And I've got 2 grandsons and 1 granddaughter, so it's kind of nice to have the boys now. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you dedicate your weekends just to have family time only, or sometimes work gets a bit much and then you have to sort of like balance, it's work-life balance sort of thing?
Even if I dedicated my time to work, it's ended up being family. With the
because that's the way it should be.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. It's been awesome. So yeah, it's just juggling, as you do. Yep.
Grandchildren are the best because you have all the fun and none of the responsibility.
That's right.
So once they need a nappy change, you say, "Here's your child back."
Yeah, I think I've been grandparenting for a long time, because they're like at school, you get the kids all hyped up, and and then you say, "Okay, I've got to go now." Leave them to their teacher, and talk to with the parents, with my daughters, have fun. And they're yours.
Ben doesn't know the joys of grandparenting yet, Ben.
Not yet. My daughters
something to look forward to.
They just need to get past the first stage of just getting through uni. And anyway, that's another story and another journey. Just going on, Sonia, can you tell us about your journey into becoming a principal here at Roscommon? That would be a really good story to share.
Okay, it's probably not the typical journey, because I came to Roscommon as a relief teacher. I knew the acting DP at the time. And I loved it so much that I ended up I wanted to come as a classroom teacher, but then she became the acting principal and asked me to be the acting DP. And at the time I was really young, and I said no.
Wow.
I don't want to do it. But at that time there was a teacher shortage, and there wasn't that many people applying for Roscommon because it had a little bit of a reputation at that time. And
Roscompton.
yeah, that was exactly that was fun. And so yeah, I ended up being the acting DP, and then was the acting principal because she got cancer, and
Yes.
and thankfully for a little bit she came back and went into remission. She became the principal, I became the DP, and then the cancer came back. So then I acted as principal for quite some time, and by the time she unfortunately passed away, I've been in that role for a long time in I guess the community, and you sort of look around, you think, well, I have been doing the job, and that's kind of how I think I kind of fell into it. I don't know, or
Yeah.
was led maybe.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, so I've been here ever since.
So when
Sonia,
was that?
before I
How many
forget-
years? How many years is that? Sorry, Sonia.
Oh gosh, I came here in 1996 as that relief teacher. And
Right.
then 1997, I was sort of acting, but I've been the principal here since 2002, I think. Yeah.
2002.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
21.
It's a long
21 years.
I just go, oh, it's about 20 years to people,
Yeah. Sonia,
Long
before I
time.
forget, one of the RTLB that's currently working with me at Cluster 10, he said to pass on his love and to say hello. I'm not too sure if you remember. I'm not too sure if we're talking about the same person you were talking about. His name is Creason Naidu.
Oh, Creason, yes.
Yes.
His wife was my DP. Fortunately, cancer and passed away. But yeah, just lovely family.
Yeah, he sends lots of love to you. He sends lots of love and light to you. So I said, I promise I'll do a shout out.
If you're out there.
Shout out for Creason. Yeah. So it's good.
Great family,
Awesome.
great people. Yeah.
Lovely guy. Really great guy. Yeah.
So for the people who don't know, so Roscommon is in Manurewa in Auckland, but you've got a Māori unit and a Samoan bilingual unit. Can you tell us the story of how the Samoan bilingual unit came about, or how both units came about?
Well, the Māori immersion unit was here when I got here, and it was still sort of in its infancy. It was, they were just trialing a few things, and it was pretty much, I would say it was an enrichment then, but we've sort of worked over it to become a fully, full immersion. But for the Samoan bilingual unit, it's now in its 12th, 13th year, I think. And that came about from the community, actually. So we had done quite a bit of work in, under the banner of Homeschool Partnership, where we would, bring our whānau when we'd talk about, their children's learning. And we would have our ethnic and language groups, Samoan, so that we could share the similar kinds of messages about the children's learning in their own heritage language. So we had quite a lot of Samoan families, Tongan, and then we had our Māori bilingual, and then our English medium. And so we were having these conversations, and then through those homeschool partnership opportunities, the families became close, the relationships build. And then they had more to do with like our Samoan language weeks. And then one of the Samoan language weeks, they requested that I meet with them. And then they put it to me, that they were interested in setting up a Samoan bilingual unit. And so at the time I was like, in my mind, I don't know why, but I was like, I don't really want to have a Samoan bilingual unit because I wasn't sure why, and so I kind of fobbed them off in a way, and I'm just being real here. And I said, oh, look, because at the time I was doing my TESOL qualification, and part of that is you do bilingual education papers. And so I said, look, I'm doing this study over the next few weeks, and can we just let's just do our homework and let's go away and pray about it, see if it's a God idea and not just a good idea sort of thing. I think I was just kind of stalling them because I just needed to process for myself. And actually, when I went away and did the study and had those conversations, what came to me through the study is actually it was me that was blocking the reason why I didn't want to, because I wasn't feeling like I could lead You know, because I was like, well, I'm only, you know, I can't even speak the language. I'm Samoan, you know, do they even see me as a Samoan? You know, that sort of thing. And anyway, when
You're sort of
I,
like blocking yourself.
yeah.
Would you
And
be,
then when,
would that be?
yeah,
Yeah.
Sonia,
yeah,
Ben and I are the exact same. So yeah, we're all
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
English
Yeah.
yeah,
We know.
here,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So when I did do the study, and I realized actually there's really good kaupapa or philosophy around this, and we've got research, you know, our parents didn't need to know the research. They knew why, you know, they
Yeah.
had the reasons why you would want to sustain your language and your culture and your identity. But for me, that was just for me. And so when I
Yeah.
went back to we were having this whono, and the parents were having this big discussion about something. And then I remember, because I was speaking in Samoan, and I can understand a little bit of Samoan, but at the time I couldn't. There were two lead parents that were dads that were. I felt that they were arguing about, but actually it was just a cultural way of putting forward an idea, and then someone else had a strong idea, and you know, so it was debating. But to me, I felt, oh my gosh, they're arguing, you know, and at that time I started to cry, and they stopped and they said, you know, what's the matter, you know, and then I just went,
Oh,
I said, I don't know what you're saying, and I feel like I can't help you, you know, blah
yeah.
blah. And then in that moment, I probably feel a bit choked up whenever I say this, but I said, you know, I can't even help you because I can't speak the language, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they said, oh, Mrs. Johnston, you know, when we see you, you're a Samoan. You are a Samoan. And it was like, I know my mum brought us up to be strong in our Samoan culture. But, you know, I think having where you're in a community where you're not sure how you're perceived by that community, and then they affirm to you your identity, like, no, that's how we see you. That in that moment, I just knew that, okay, this is the right thing. And then from that moment on, I stepped into that leadership role, specifically to help the families set up the Samoan bilingual. You know, there were lots of leaders. I'm just saying I was just one of them, but I guess I was a key person to actually help the establishment of that Samoan bilingual unit. So yeah, so we had a lot of consultation with the families. We pulled all of our consultation from the families, the families and student voice staff, and we had all the research, because we actually had to go to the ministry and really lobby them to make sure that, you know, we can establish this and we can actually go right up to year 8. And that was a bit of a journey in itself, because at that time it was national standards, and, you know, with national standards, it's sort of pushing the English is the only way type thing. So
Yes.
we were kind of like going against the grain, but we had lots of good support from some of the other Samoan bilingual units in the area. So yeah, that's a little
awesome.
bit, yeah.
That's amazing. Thank
I
you.
think what you're,
Is it hard finding teachers for those 2 units?
We sometimes it can be tricky, like especially relief teachers, you know, if a teacher has to go on maternity leave or whatever. But we've been quite blessed that we have had good connections, and so we've been able to staff them. They've been fully staffed most of the time, which, you know, we've never really had to have. We've maybe had in the last couple of years, like one teacher who had some Samoan heritage, but couldn't speak the language fluently. Yeah.
And sorry, do you have any plans for any other units, or just going to
We
stick
did
to
have
these
a
ones for now?
Tongan bilingual unit. We had a Tongan bilingual
Okay,
unit. Unfortunately, we just couldn't maintain
sustain the
staff.
numbers.
And so
okay.
in the end, we were like, you know, we said to the families, we just can't get the teachers. But there is a really good Tongan bilingual unit at Finlayson Park up the road. So we encourage them, if you need to take them, you can. Some of our families did, and others kept them in the English medium. And we've just tried to. We've got some Tongan teacher aides, and they kind of work with some of those kiddies for their language and that. So. Yeah.
Sonia, what's the makeup of your school? Sorry, what's the ethnic makeup of your school so far now, and the roll number?
The largest group is Samoan, then Māori, then Tongan, Cook Island, and then we've got quite a few families from from Asian countries now, Philippines, and yeah, so yeah, getting a little bit
a lot of
yeah.
yeah. We're getting quite a few also in Papatoetoe and Otahu, a lot of Filipinos. So now they're bringing in that sort of dynamic into our schools, which is amazing. Really, it's you talk about multicultural. It's very, very, very diverse. And then if you throw neurodiversity into that mix, and that's a whole new kettle of fish.
Sonia, I just want to applaud your bravery for doing that, for setting up the units, especially the Samoan unit. I think that, not being able to speak Samoan for myself is very challenging. And I think being in a room with Samoan speakers and then not knowing what they're asking is it's a bit of a fear, And so, to be able to set that up that's very brave of you. Thank you.
I think what I learned from that is, there's that Māori, I don't know how to say it in te reo, but there's that Māori whakatauki, the kumara doesn't talk about its own sweetness.
Yes.
And, but I can't remember who said it, but it always stuck in my mind that, non-Māori, our role is to call out that sweetness, and we can speak about the sweetness. If you can't speak about your own sweetness, someone else can speak about your sweetness, and that's given me encouragement. Like even if I can't speak the language, that language Samoan say, I can do what I can do to promote and encourage others and myself, to keep that language alive, kind of thing. So sorry, that was my phone. So I think, even if you're, and that's what we talk about with our staff. We just say, when we celebrate, all of our language weeks, etc., and we talk to the kids as well, is, we are developing this culture where it's cool to be bilingual, to be multilingual, and
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, fully agree.
Okay, Brian, you got another question over there.
Oh,
it's got your name on it. Oh, sorry. It's actually me. But...
I will accept your apology, Ben.
Okay. Sonia, what are some of the things that teachers who would like to become principals, what do they actually need to think about before taking that further step into leadership? Because Tautai Pacific is all about building our own leadership.
Yes.
What are some of the things that it doesn't, let's take away the culture and just say, teacher wants to be a principal. Let's think about the area that they're looking at. It could be an area where it's multicultural. It could be an area where it's. But what are the most important aspects of remembering that if you want to do this job, if you want to come into this role, there are certain things you need to think about.
Yeah, I think what I've always encouraged my teachers and emerging leaders is that be really well grounded in your teaching practice. So be a really good teacher. And, to be a really good teacher, you have to, know your stuff, know your kids, know yourself, sort of thing. And because I ended up being a principal, it was not an aspiration of mine to any kind of leadership. I feel like I just ended up, I just saw a need.
Right place, right time.
Somebody saw something in me, and, and I just wanted to help and wanted to serve. But the thing is, to have longevity in this career, you've got to be passionate about what you're doing, and
absolutely
be grounded in teaching practice. And I have found that because I loved teaching, and I like the classroom, and I like the kids, and I love curriculum, and so I find that I've always drawn on that knowledge and experience, and to drive whatever. Because sometimes I have seen some people, when they are young leaders, and they just think, oh, I want to be a leader, and so they just go, right, what's the pathway for that? Okay, I'm going to do this, and this.
Yes,
Instead of being grounded in the work, like be about the work. And then the work, when you do that, it will just, I'm a Christian, and you sort of think, be faithful in the small things, and then, God will honor that sort of thing. And I have just found that, when you just do something that just because you just enjoy it, you to the next thing, and then you clock up that experience. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the right thing, but in a Pacifica way, that's how we have, I've always sort of said, for some of our Pacifica young leaders, sometimes they won't put their hand up and go, pick me, pick me. It's more like, let me do the work. And then, I'm just going to trust that someone will recognize that work. And then the next thing will come and, so I guess there's a little balancing act, Yeah.
I 100% agree with what you just said there. We don't want to burst our own bubble. We don't want to say, everyone, hey, look at me. This is the fantastic work. Look at what I'm doing. I think for me, and this is from experience, that I let my work talk for itself. And if you like my work, and if you think I can do better, then I'll move forward. But it's about the work, and it is about service. Service is number one. And you got to be, well, you're right. You have to be grounded for it. You got to be, otherwise you're going to be struggling. And you might want to be a principal for the wrong reasons, and that could be dangerous for this, not dangerous, but for the community that you're trying to that you're working in. If it's really about you building your own portfolio, that's where you're going to have your issues with stuff. This is what I think, anyway.
Sonia, were there many Pacific principals when you became principal?
Not really.
There's a lot. There's a lot now, aren't there?
There's heaps now. Yeah. No,
why do you think that's changed?
Yeah. Sorry.
Why do you think that's changed? How do you feel about that?
I think there was some deliberate things done by a core group of Pacifica principals like Enosa and Fatili, from that core group of principals. There's others, I'm sorry if I forgot your name if you're watching, who were driving, what are we doing for our emerging leaders, and are you, and so, and those people getting around others and really giving them encouragement and supporting them to apply for some of these positions that were, are out there. And I also think, with boards of trustees and more, as more information came out for our Pacifica families about what they can do, and that you can actually get onto a board, and you can, one of your big jobs is to appoint a principal that would be suitable for your community. I think through that time, that's allowed for communities to go, actually, we want someone that reflects, who can understand our people and that sort of thing. So yeah, there's probably lots of things that have contributed to the booming population of Pacifica principals. Yeah.
And it's growing. It's growing.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's growing. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, no, it's so good. So thinking about parents, what are some of the things that you would recommend for parents to do for their children before they start school? Just thinking from that perspective.
Okay, I'm probably thinking as a grandparent too, now that I can,
absolutely.
I've had another chance to have a look at, when you're raising your own children, you're busy too. But the blessing of being a grandparent is you have time to think about that parenting as well.
Yes.
And
you can fix all your mistakes.
Yeah. I think having those to me, what I've been observing over time with the little ones starting, I feel like I made some notes. You say, don't outsource your parenting. Your role as a parent is you're going to parent that child for life. Hopefully, you're going to be their mum and dad or caregiver or whatever for the whole of their life. And sometimes, with ECE and, daycare, all childcare and all that, two of my grandchildren, they go to childcare, and I talked to my girls and said, you make sure that they know that you have those face-to-face conversations. Don't put them in front of devices. Play is really important. All those sorts of things, so that the relationship of the parent and the child knows that my mum and dad care about my learning, and they are in charge of my learning from the get-go. And when I go through school, they are going to be fully invested in how that learning is going right through my whole schooling, because sometimes I think, I'm not saying all parents, but a few parents I've seen where they're like, right, I'm going to go to work, drop them off at daycare. Good luck. You need to raise my child and do the parenting of my child, which, yes, they do have some care, but the actual molding of that child and how that child's character and, you know, observing your child and what are their strengths, what are their giftings that they've got, and you're having that relationship with them, that's actually on the parent to, I believe, you know, and the you're partnering with whoever else comes into the picture, like the teacher or the, you know, the ECE person. But you know, if you can have the, you know, and I always talk to my girls about, you know, looking into their eyes and having, you know, talking with your children and not just get off the phones. They need to see all of the all your language that you're helping those kids to develop, and what the understanding it comes from those personal interactions that you're having with your child. It's not going to come from Miss Rachel on TV or the Wiggles or something like that, you know.
I love the Wiggles. Oh, sorry, please continue.
No, the Wiggles are cool. And so is Bluey and all that, you know. But you know, you've got to make sure that you balance it and give the
you've
kids
got to do your part.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
I told some parents about the library and they thought it was revolutionary. I said, because I got sick of getting all these children's books out for my daughter Georgia, who's 6. So I said to these parents in my parent interviews, I said, you can go to the library, get their own library book and take out 35 books, and you only need to go once a month, and then you can read to them every day. And they were like, oh, wow, I haven't been to the library for ages. It's just, it's something that you need to read to your children. It's such an amazing bonding session.
Yeah, and they just love it because, you know, I said, because I read to my grandchildren all the time, and you know, and I say, look at the way I'm reading. I might not necessarily be reading, you know, word for word, but I'm making up things, and I'm adding my, you know, voices and stuff like that. You know, they're not going to get, you know, and I'm tailoring that reading to that particular child, you know, or audience, you know, whereas you don't get that when you push play on the screen. You know, they're just getting one version of something, and it's not personalized to them. I just believe that's how that kids make connections.
Absolutely.
I totally agree. Absolutely. Sonia, if I'm not too sure, how familiar are you with the RTLB service?
He's got an RTLB liaison there.
Yeah. And I used to be on the RTLB little, when they were in smaller groups in our area. I used to be one of those.
You did lots of work.
Yeah. Exec group was,
Awesome. Because the next question is actually centered around what would you like the RTLB to know from a principal's perspective? Because sometimes in different classes, some RTLB are pretty much unsure. Of course, they get information from the Senko about the school, but sometimes RTLB are not too sure on how to engage or let's say, you know, approach teachers. You get so much information from the Senko, which is great, but you know, usually, you know, it would be helpful if they knew what principals wanted from their service, from our service. What's your expectation of RTLB coming into the school?
Well, I think it all depends, right? You know, because like you were saying, sometimes some principals or some schools or whatever, maybe they don't always understand, or maybe they've had a different view of RTLBs, but what we see is you're the resource teacher that you're coming in. You've been classroom teachers yourselves, but you've come in with some additional expertise or knowledge, or just another set of eyes and hands and, you know, and advice that you're working alongside the teacher. And for us, we value that. So I think for us, we see, to me, if you're going to involve the RTLB in your school, or in, you know, in that case or whatever, is to value what that RTLB can bring, what perspective they can bring, because sometimes at schools, you know, because you might hear, well, that's all very well, you bringing that particular piece of knowledge or perspective, but do you know, I've got all these other things to think about. But to me, I'm like, actually we have all these other things, like, you know, we're not just thinking about the one aspect that you might be bringing, say.
That's right.
I've got all these other things to think about, but to me it's like, actually we need people to be championing something, you know, with a bit of expertise, because we don't have the time and energy, because our time and energy, it can be spread with all those other things, but it's
Absolutely.
somebody there that can just go, yeah, but what about this? And you're like, oh yeah, you know, and so they're helping to move your practice forward, even though maybe some RTLB might get a little bit of resistance sometimes, because, you know, not easy to change, right? But I think,
Absolutely.
yeah, and plus we're just lucky. We've had really awesome RTLBs, you know.
Thank
Oh,
you.
great.
No,
No,
no, no.
yeah,
Oh, the
Big
other one.
shout out for Cluster
The other
12.
one,
Cluster
sorry.
12, big shout out.
Cluster
Yeah.
12, yeah, no. But and they've got good leadership with, you know,
Yes.
in cluster, and so I think that makes a difference, having good leadership, you know, in the RTLB cluster, because the leader, you know,
Absolutely.
if you have a good RTLB leadership, they are essential for the communication and the relationship building across the area that they're in, and it takes, then it allows, if that's going on, then it allows the RTLBs to just work in that environment, like, okay, that's all clear it from the top, which it is.
Awesome.
You have really good communication. So yeah.
Inclusion. Are we there yet?
Are we doing it?
Are we there yet?
Like inclusive
That's ongoing, isn't it?
it's ongoing, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes, like, you know, when you get the really, really high needs kids, like we've got a couple of kids who they've said, look, we know they should be in a special school, even though you might have inclusive practices, but, you know, over and above that, these kids should be in a special school, but there's just no room for them. They're on the waiting list. And so, you know, that impacts on people's well-being and their whole idea of inclusion kind of thing.
We've
But
got a lot of, absolutely.
yeah.
I know what you're saying, because we've got a lot of teachers out there. Actually, I'm going to be to be honest, we've had a lot of referrals from schools, Senkos, requesting for trauma-informed PD
Yes.
and neurodiversity. A lot more understanding around neurodiversity. And we're delivering 5 workshops at this point at the moment to our schools, because they seem to, and I'm sure you've got an increasing growth of neurodiverse children coming into your school.
Yes.
Yeah. I understand there's a lot more work to do around inclusion.
That's why you're looking to set up the sensory space.
That's right.
Yeah.
And hopefully hopefully use that as an opportunity to sort of for ourselves to keep learning. And I think it's not just teachers, but it's also parents, and even parents of children that don't have, you know, the other parents that you know, you're having to have those conversations, like, you know, that particular child is neurodiverse and they've got these, you know, and for them to have that understand, it's your whole community coming on board with that kaupapa. It's
absolutely.
Are we there yet? No, we're still traveling.
Yes.
The
journey. Yes, it takes a village.
It does take a village.
Sonia, I'm just going to read this question out the way it was written. So this is a question from Malia Tuala from Massey University. So she asked, how do you create a culturally inclusive school that is welcoming to external agencies, especially to people who are new to the Roscommon or Manurewa community?
Okay.
How would you answer that?
Big question.
Yeah.
That's a big question.
You've said a lot of things already, but
I think so. Yeah.
I think it doesn't feel hard to me, because, you know, we sort of live by those I guess I was thinking about, like, you know, manaakitanga and whanaunatanga. Those are a couple of the sort of values that are inherent in Māori and Pasifika cultures, where we sort of like to think of ourselves as, like, you know, one of the things that the previous principal, she always said, you know, never lose that funky whānau feeling in the school. And that's always sort of, you know, so just have, you know, a school that's got that funky whānau feel, you know, where everyone's feels like their family, you know, and so we try and do that with our kids, you know, with our staff, with our board, you know, where we deliberately nurture that whanaungatanga. So one of our school values is whakawhanaungatanga, which is, you know, to make like being family. And so, you know, if you're someone that's coming into our family, we will welcome you into our family. You know, we're not going to sort of, you know, that's really important. And so it starts right even from the, as you come into the office, you know,
That's right.
Yes.
everybody says, oh man, there's just such a nice feeling. And just the way everyone says hello. And so if you
I love
are
that.
coming and, you know, everyone will go, hey, how are you going? What, you know,
Yes.
what are you up to? You know, so it's acknowledging that the human side of being alive, I suppose, is, you know, here's another person, they've entered our space. We look at them, we say hello, we're, are you okay? Are you looked after? What are you up to? You know, it starts right from there. Whether you're a visitor to the school or, you know, someone on the staff or a child, just everybody knowing that you are acknowledged when you come in here and we're interested in you, we're nosy. Hey, Brian, things. But yeah,
lovely.
that, yeah.
That's lovely because some schools you go to and they are not happy to see you. I won't mention any names. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Because
no,
it's
but I
what we
sorry,
say.
Sonia, you go. I was just going to say that the front person at the front desk has the hardest job.
Yeah.
Huge job.
Putting that smile on their face. Yeah. And
yeah. No, our office staff, I think they just know, you know, because
they're lovely.
You have to build that up over time, and it's your own interactions that you have with people, and then they see that as that's the norm. You're setting that tone for your school, and then when someone is acting outside of those norms, like if they're not being welcoming or they're being, you know, like they isolate themselves, then people are like, oh, it's, you know, and then we're like, hey, this isn't, you know, somehow the culture of your school and the norms of your school help to bring people in, I guess, and
that's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah. I hope that answered that question.
No, you answered that pretty well.
Your interpretation, it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah. Sonia, just any resources or readings or books, specific or other, that you would recommend for teachers?
Gee, there's so many, isn't there?
If there was one book that really resonated, one book that really stood out for you about, you know, engaging with Pacific families and our akua, what's any resources or readings that you can recommend? Even if it's just one thing.
Yeah, I think you know, a lot of Russell Bishop's work, Mary Berryman, you know, we've got a lot of people that have been writing, so just, you know, encouraging them. But also I think like there's a lot of TESOL readings or ESOL readings that we did when we did our, you know, TESOL scholarship, and we looked at, you know, there's a lot of readings that we did in that we were able to sort of get a bit of the background, the pedagogy, you know, Pauline Gibbons, who else is that guy? Stephen May, you know, the New Zealand researcher on bilingual education. He's, you know, a lot of his mahi is really not just about bilingual education, but just what's good practice for English language learners of a Pacific, you know, heritage. Yep.
If you've got a reading list, it would be great if you could just send us a couple of readings or a couple of books, and we'll just share it out. That would be lovely. I think you did touch on one, but is there a whakatauki or alanga upu that inspires or motivates you? That, you know, you already said that funky whānau feeling.
I guess there's so many things that you can take. But I think one thing that stuck in my head when I was a young teacher, and I actually had a Māori enrichment class, and I had a kaiawhina who worked with me. He was awesome. Wuli Mokaraka, he's passed away now, but he said something, I can't remember how to say it in te reo, but he said something like to the effect of you know, if not for the night sky, the stars would not shine. And I've always remembered that, is like, you know, your role, even as a leader or a teacher, is to be that night sky, to help you know, what you do in the background. And if you can remind yourself that, no, I'm there to support and highlight and help all those other learners around me to shine. It doesn't have to always, I don't have to be the big star in the room. You know, it's kind of, and inspired me, I think. Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Lovely.
Nice.
Probably one of them.
If you think about your younger self, what's the advice you would say to your younger self? Knowing, you know, looking back on the work you've done, on the experience experiences you've had, whether it's education, personal, what's the advice you would give to your younger self?
I think for me, it would be brave and speak your truth. That's
Nice.
probably, and when I say that, because when I think back to my younger self, there was a lot of times where, you know, because we are being from, you know, this is generalization, but I do know that, you know, a lot of cultures, have a culture of politeness where we can see something, we think, oh gosh, you know, but maybe we weren't in that particular role to actually speak into that situation, so we kept quiet, or we sort of talked around it. We didn't really say it, and there's that culture of politeness, and that's probably one of the readings or one of the books. I think it's called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if you've read that.
Lovely.
And he talks about this culture of politeness in one of his scenarios where there was this pilot or something, and they were looking at this airline. I think it might have been Malaysian Airlines or something, and they kept having crashes. And then when they analyzed the black boxes or something, they saw that actually the second in charge was really wanting to tell the pilot, dude, we're going to crash, you know, watch out for the
Too polite.
But because they were like, oh, I can't say that to that someone that's higher authority to me. And so what they did was that when they realized this, they actually trained up some of those you know, second in charge to they changed their pilot training so that they trained with a non whatever, that like a European, or it was just some other kind that didn't have crashes maybe. And when you think about, you know, that term culture of politeness, you know, and I was thinking, actually, there's probably a lot of times when I saw things, like I remember one time I was in this principal hui, and there was heaps of us. It was the only you know, Pacifica principal, and they were having this discussion around making our English language learners, our ESL funded students, sit this particular assessment. And I was like, why would you make them sit that assessment? And they were like, oh, we need it for the so that we can get the results and we can get the money or something. And I was like, that's actually really, no, I don't agree with that. I think that's really, really bad practice. Those kids, the particular children that you were talking about, not there are kids that could do it, but there was the kids that were in, you know, the lower levels that was just English was new to them. And they said, oh, even if they just write their name, it doesn't matter. And I was like, well, no, you're setting them up to, you know. Anyway, one of the other older principals, he comes in, and, you know, he was very well respected, Palangi man, you know, and he'll laugh. We always laugh when I see him, you know, see him around every day, and we laugh about the time. And he comes in, and he was running late. So we're having this conversation. He goes, you know, I don't think that's right. I don't want my kids doing that, you know. And then everybody just went, oh, okay. No,
that's a good idea. And I
was going,
frustrating.
Because my kids went to school, and I was like, dude, I've been saying that for the last nearly a whole hour trying to debate, and they've been going, no. And then he goes, I think it's because I'm old and white, eh? And I mean, I think so. But, you know, he would just laugh at himself, and we would just laugh, you know. But I guess being I would be brave. I would hope that I would be braver, speak my truth. And I think
good on you.
Don't worry about what others think about you so much. As you get older, you realize everyone's just thinking about themselves. They don't really care about you.
That's right.
You worry.
You just reached a certain age, exactly.
You
just reached a certain age where you know what, I really don't care anymore. I'm just going to speak my mind.
That's right.
Take it as it is. And that's what you've just mentioned is an absolute different topic on its own. So we'll go.
Yeah, Ben's that age now. So our next part is let's have some fun. So we've got a wheel of questions, and then we just spin the wheel, and then we're just going to answer a question. So we might do one.
I'm not going to go first. I'm not going first because
last time Ben went first, and it was a disaster.
All right. You're off the hook today, Ben.
Yeah, I'm off the hook. I'm not going first.
Okay, can you see that wheel?
Yep, I can.
Okay, right. Let's see what happens. And the winner is... Okay, what's your favorite childhood memory?
Is this for me or...
We're all going to
answer. This is going to be everyone. We're all going to answer, but I'm not going.
Do you want to go first?
I'm not going first.
No, you go first, Brian.
Okay, so favorite childhood memory. I grew up in the 70s, and I used to love walking everywhere. And I went to my friend's house, walked around the corner, and we just rode bikes all day, and we just took off, and we left in the morning, and we came back. Nobody knew where we were. And we just had fun. You know, there was a little bike track, and we went up and down, and it was just such a lovely time to be alive. But I wouldn't let my daughter ride her bike anywhere. She wouldn't go anywhere without me. It's just a completely different world, and I just enjoy that freedom. Yeah, that's what I miss about being a kid. Sometimes growing up is it's not all it's cracked up to be. Sonia, what's your favorite childhood memory?
The first thing that came when I saw that, and I was like, it was Christmas time, and my mum, because I guess they don't do Santa in Samoa, and everyone was talking about Santa, and our neighbors came over, and they were talking about Santa, and we were like, no, there's no Santa, and then they said, no, there's Santa, and so my mum used to buy us presents, and then she would go, right, you're going to get the pram, you're going to get the dolls or something like that, And I remember my mum had bought this tea set, but none of us knew who was going to get the tea set. Anyway, the neighbors were like, no, Santa's going to come, and he's going to come down the chimney. And so I was like, okay. And so I remember that night I went to bed, it was the night of Christmas Eve or whatever. Yeah. And I remember thinking, we don't have a chimney in our house. How's Santa going to get? I opened my window, and I remember leaving it wide open, and I remember thinking, now, how will Santa know if I'm the oldest child? Oh, I know what, I'll get a pillow. So I got the pillow and I put it down by my feet so he could see that I was like, and in the morning, and I woke up because my mum used to leave at the end of our bed, and I was like, yes, I got the tea set. Santa knew that I was like, yeah, that was just, I don't know, we talked to her, and mum was like, no, there's no Santa. I buy the presents, okay?
Yeah. Christmas was always like that, eh? I think when we had Christmases, we all got, did the Christmassy thing, but the adults would go into the dining room. We were in the living room, and it was at night, and then suddenly they'd all bring out their bags and wallets and start having a game of poker. And they would play. But that's what my aunties and uncles, my mum and dad did. That was their downtime after putting on a big spread and prepping for Christmas. I think my child. Yeah. Well, you got screaming kids, and all the cousins were over. It was a nightmare. I wouldn't call it Christmas. I'd call it I'd call it one of those days. Chaos. It would have been chaos. I think childhood memory was when we lived in Otara, and we lived on the street, Clayton Ave, and all I remember is every Saturday night, every Friday night and Saturday night, the whole street, all the kids, all the teenagers would go to this one park, and we'll just play in that park, and we'll play sports. We'll play touch rugby. We'll play cricket. Yeah.
Do you know the Wilsons of Clayton Park?
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're my cousins. We used to go.
Oh my god. Oh, that's where you know each other.
Oh my gosh. I just had to mention that for some reason. We used to hang out. Remember how we always used to hang out until until 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, and we used to play Spotlight and all sorts. Do you remember the what do you call it? Those shopping trolleys? And people would and then we would push each other. I think one of my car accident he was in the shopping trolley and banged into a car. But
were you there? Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
and it was the whole street. It wasn't just, you know, one or two. Everybody on that street used to just, it was just amazing. It was,
Yeah.
and you don't see that happening anymore.
Yeah.
You don't see that happening anywhere. I don't know. I've, you know, with my own kids, just not the same. But that was actually one of the happiest memories. Getting together on the street, going to other people's homes, and you know, just watch videos, night videos, and all stuff. It was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah,
this
that's
reminds
my
me of
favorite.
this reminds me of in a Korean drama where they fall in love, and then they find out that years ago they actually met when they were 3 years old. Anyway, okay, let's do another one.
Okay. Oh, it's good to see you again, Sonia. Then.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben stole your bike or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it was a trolley. It was a shopping trolley.
Shopping trolley.
There was always a shopping trolley on that road, on that street. Oh my gosh.
Oh, what's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you? Oh, Ben, you can go first on this one. I'll need some time to think.
There's been so many of them. Funniest moment. Oh my gosh. It's been so many.
That's a hard one. Should we spin again?
Yeah, spin again.
Yeah, spin again. I don't have that on file right now. Okay, right. Let's spin again. Right. Should have taken that out of the wheel.
You need to read these questions.
I did. Okay, what's the most there you go. What's the most unusual thing you've ever eaten?
Oh God, it has to be octopus. I don't know how our family can eat it. I can't do it for the love for the sake of it. I can't eat octopus. Just the smell puts me off.
I can't eat oysters, but that's not the most
unusual. Oh yeah.
I just get it's a texture, but maybe the most unusual thing I've had pigeon.
Oh yeah. Gosh.
Samoa.
Yeah.
All the non-Samoans are going, hey. Yeah,
it's just another bird. I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, we just catch the pigeon and cook it in Samoa.
I had ostrich in South Africa. And it's like a purpley kind of meat. And then at the Palace, shout out to the Palace in Sun City, they have ostrich eggs, and they make scrambled eggs and all that, like the best breakfast in the world, they said. And then I had snails in Japan. So, and then I mean, but the thing about Japan is, you know, the snails came out and that they tasted amazing. You wouldn't even know it was a snail.
I've eaten God, what is it? It's like a dried scorpion.
Oh,
I had that.
Oh,
they because we take our kids away, and we every summer, and we had some of their friends come and join us down in Whangamata. We went down there one time, and yeah, they were doing deers, and they had this thing, and
wow.
I myself and someone else had to eat it.
Oh gosh,
it was crunchy. It was crunchy, and it was like, yeah, you could taste the protein.
Was it? So it was just dried out. Was it dried out?
It was a dried scorpion. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And here am I going on about octopus. Okay. We got one more?
No, you can ask the next question. You want to ask the next question?
Yeah.
You want to do one more?
One? Oh, no.
From Mac.
Oh, you mean Mac, from Mac. Okay. So, Sonia, from Mac, this is a question that Mac for you. We always get to, you know, when we finish, just before we finish an interview, we ask people, what's the question you would have for the next person, for the next speaker, for the next guest speaker? So your one is, if you were given the chance to be something in life, what would it be?
Something else in life? Something else in life, or?
Something else in life. Yeah. If you're given the chance to be something else in life.
Any way you interpret it is fine.
You know what? I would be, I would, yeah. If I had my life over again, I'd like to do something in the arts, like maybe writing or an artist, because I like that kind of thing. Not that I'm the greatest artist, but or as a kid, I loved dancing, and I wish that my family encouraged that. I still like dancing, but you know, I don't have the skills. I loved that sort of thing when I was little. Yeah, and I kind of wish it was developed. But hey, it's all good.
It's not too late to do something in the arts.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe when I retire.
Maybe.
Retirement's a long way away, Sonia.
So Sonia, it's your turn. So what's one question that you would like to ask the next person? And
Okay.
you don't know
My
who
family,
it is, just a question.
yeah, my family probably think, oh, this is mum being morbid again. But if someone were to sum up your life after listening to your eulogy or tributes at your funeral, what would be one sentence that they would say about you? So that's my question.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
And you,
That's
only
a good
because my
one.
uncle, I had to be the MC at my uncle's funeral just
Yes.
a few weeks back, and
Yeah.
then I had to kind of just wrap it up, and you know, like when I was thinking that through, I was like, oh, you know, you see a common thread, like, you know,
Yeah.
for my uncle, it was just like he just wanted to live a simple life, just live simply.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just thinking,
Okay,
Wow.
Sonia, and this is where we put the twist on you, and then we have to answer that question. So we're going to answer your question. So you and
I see.
Ben
Okay.
and I are going to answer that question now. So can you just repeat the question one more time for us?
Okay, so if someone were to sum up, say like they've come to your funeral, they've listened to your eulogy and your tributes, and they're just going to sum up in one sentence about you and your life, what would they say? What would be that sentence? Like, for example, my uncle would be, he was a man that just wanted to live a simple life. Done.
Okay, I just thought of something for me, all right? He did the best that he could with the gifts that he had.
Nice.
Okay, that's so good.
And I wish yeah, well, probably one of my biggest regrets in life is being able to speak Samoan, because your language is your identity, and I wish that I could. So what happened in our family is my oldest brother was fluent in Samoan, and then he went to school, and then the nuns told my parents that we should speak English at home because it'll be better for your schooling. And then here I am all the way at the bottom, and then it was English only. So so I've done the best that I can with the gifts that I've been given.
Yeah.
Right, Ben, do you want to go next, or Sonia? Who's next?
Oh my God. I'm still thinking about mine.
Well, Sonia, you can go next.
Also-
If you want. What's the sentence that they would say about you? Sum up your
Me?
life. Yeah.
To sum up your life, how would you put it?
I hope that they will say she loved well. Like, you know, I love my family. I love what I did.
Lovely.
Love my kids,
Nice.
grandchildren,
Love that.
you know, other people.
Yeah. Okay, so I would be, he trusted in his vacuum cleaner and always cleaned up the mess around the house.
Sonia, this is why we don't have Ben go first.
I failed again.
We don't have him go last either.
So basically, they can just put it in a shorter sentence. He sucked.
Ben, I'll give you a sentence. He was a clown.
No, there's a story. No, long story short, I always come home, I grab the hand vacuum and I just vacuum the house. You know, it might only be a little bit here, but my wife keeps going, what the hell are you doing? So I'm just cleaning up just a little bit, because I think it's become a habit, and I've been doing it for years now. So
okay.
Yeah, I sucked.
So here's another one. He cleaned up other people's messes. There you go.
Exactly. You put a spin on it. That's it. Thanks, Brian.
Anyway.
Thanks, Sonia, for that great question. It is a great question.
It has been a pleasure to have you here talking to us. I mean, it's just been a great conversation. We've learned so much. Thank you for sharing your wisdom from your 20+ years as principal. She loved well. Yes, we'll remember that about you. I mean, not that you're going anywhere, but yeah, I love working in your school, and we've loved chatting with you. Ben?
Yeah, Sonia, it's, just finding out now that we've crossed paths many years ago. We're going back about 40, oh my goodness, 42 years. It's great to catch up and see you again, and to see where you are at now from where you were back then. And I just commend you on the journey that you've taken. and the work that you're doing and supporting Roscommon, and you're a true reflection of the community you work in and serve. It's all about service. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
I'm just glad that we're alive, eh, Ben? We didn't get killed in the trolley races that we used to have down the road.
Oh my God, yeah. Did a lot of stupid
We're
stuff.
alive to tell the tale.
You're the reason that you're not allowed to take
Yeah.
trolleys home, you know? You know that.
Mate, hey Sonia. Oh my God, when it was Guide Forks, oh my God, all the crazes came out with the fireworks. It's just, oh yeah, we won't, no more. We won't say anymore.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Good.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. See you then.